right. We're not going to have any words. We're not going to have any lyrics. That's
No.
Welcome, Mike. How are you?
Welcome. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Wow.
Whatever.
You work for the government?
Union job, you know?
Yeah. So what's going on? Anything exciting?
Nothing and everything, you know. Just got home from dinner. We went out to a local Mexican restaurant here.
Yeah.
Not bad for Florida. I was impressed. Kind of on the par of what we used to in San Antonio when we lived there.
So let me ask you a question right off the bat. If you're in Mexico and you go out for a cheeseburger, do you say we went out for American? I'm just asking. I don't know.
Do I look like the guy that knows the answer to that?
Go ahead. Finish your story.
It was actually really good. This place, the prices are reasonable. The margaritas are too strong. You know, nice. We get two of them, and it's like, I went to Winn-Dixie afterwards. I'm like, nice. Trying to navigate the aisles. Picking
Buy more when you're drunk in the store.
Damn, the groceries are still in the back of the truck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So after we're done here, remind me I got to go get the groceries out of the car.
The ice cream should be nice and ready by then, huh?
Yeah. No ice cream, thank God. What did I buy? Yeah, a couple Nathan's hot dogs for the boys.
Oh, those won't go bad. Those stay good forever, right?
Like Twinkies,
French fries.
Twinkies
under your seat. Hey, I want to. Something I looked at here was right down the street from my house. I think it's like less than 7 miles from my house. There's a little amphitheater on a public property, and it's the Apopka Amphitheater. And I've seen signs for it. And then one year they were going to have a big concert there, and then for some reason it got canceled. And then this past year they had more concerts scheduled there, but with the COVID thing and everything being locked down, that all got canceled. They started back up. So right down the street, I got live music. I saw you put that post about some live music returning. It's just, I don't know, to each his own on the mask thing and all that stuff. But I was surprised. It looks like, you might enjoy going out there for, I don't know, just to hang out. It's right down the street. It's an outdoor event, so you're not all cramped. But this, what does it say? 29th. This Saturday, Will and Ray are going to be there, and this is what Will and Ray says. This is them. This is a description of them. They formed in 2019 when band leaders Will Nakar and Ramsey Clark, that's Ray, took their friendship of many years to the next level. Which it's a little more TMI to me. I don't need any more information. Will and Ray blends their tight harmony, smooth instruments, and catchy melodies to create a luscious new age pop sound. So that tells me I won't be seeing Will and Ray this week.
Right. I'm looking, you can't tell, I got my phone here. I just looked up the Apopka Amphitheater.
Yeah.
It's right on a retention pond.
Yes.
It's really nice.
Yes.
Where'd it go? Right by, there's a middle school there. The Wolf Lake Middle School, right by the Wolf Lake Elementary School, right by Roseville Farms. It's a clematis plant. I guess it's a nursery of sorts. So yeah, it's right off the 429.
Anyway, I don't think I'm going right away, but it's something else, and that here's what really raised my eyebrows here, and here's what really got me thinking I'm going on the right path. Because as you know, you can go to Facebook, and we got a bunch of what's hot domains on the internet and on Facebook, depending on the locality. What's hot in Florida, what's hot in Lake County, Mount Dora, the Villages, First Coast, St. Augustine, Orlando, Central Florida, Lake County, just about everywhere. And they're going to kind of all point toward each other, but feature local. This was like less than 7 miles from my house. I used to go to a concert every week. I would have liked to have known about this. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it tells me that I'm heading in the right direction here, because this is right down the road from me. And I would have gone to these 3 or 4 I missed just to check it out. But right. I don't know nothing about it.
Exactly. Yeah, just north of you. I was surprised. We have an amphitheater here in St. Augustine, and I posted some articles on what's hot in St. Augustine, what's hot First Coast. The amphitheater is opening back up, and they're going to be doing some concerts too. I don't think it's going to be any national acts, but a lot of local and regional acts will be playing there.
Have you been to that? Have you been to that amphitheater?
Not yet.
In St. Augustine?
Not yet. The only place I've been in downtown St. Augustine is the laundromat, because when we moved here, we didn't bring our washer and dryer. So I know where the laundromat is and where the U-Haul return is. They're right by each other, in case you're wondering.
Convenient.
Yeah, and then like the downtown area where is. Like I've been to Columbia Restaurant and where they do the lights and the Christmas tree and all that whatnot stuff.
The St. Augustine Amphitheater is just like the one in Tampa, except it's half as big. So, yeah, and there's no real lawn seating in the background. But the front part, everything is about half the size. So the very front part, the shows I've been there to see didn't have any seating down there, and it was all standing. So I had to get one of the first seats I could up on the next level up. So there's like 2 levels of seats, and then there's like an open pit area, but it's about half the size of the Tampa one. It looks like it's done the same way, the same layout, except half as big. It's crazy.
Yeah, the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater now.
Yeah.
You see anybody notable in the St. Augustine Amphitheater?
Jeez, I think we went to see some, who was it? I think it was Sublime with Rome and Dirty Heads and all sorts of stuff like that. And I saw somebody else there too. I've been there at least twice, I know. 311, I saw them there. I forget, there was a bunch of people at the shows. But yeah, it was a 311 show, and it was a one of those surf head type shows too. So, whatever.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Supervillains opened. Don't they
probably
open for everybody?
Yeah, it was probably something like that. Yeah. You know where I like seeing a show is Will's downtown
Pub?
Orlando. Will's Pub.
Will's Pub. I've never been.
Yeah. I was always wondering about that because when I've been there, I thought it was this little hole-in-the-wall dive bar, but they have like the whole place next to it, and it shoots down long, and then they have like an outside area as well. But I've only seen shows on the inside, and it was pretty good. I saw Unknown Hinson there, and I saw a couple other people there. But let me put it to you this way. It was an eclectic group, and you know how all these what's the word I'm looking for? All the
was there a lot of skinny jeans there?
No. It was closer to our age, but not quite skinny jean age. So somewhere in between, like millennial maybe. But everyone here had the beards. Everybody's trying to grow their beard, and I already had my beard long. So all night, everyone had beard envy on me because I had the longest beard in the place. And I could see it was kind of like a thing. You would walk by, and people with beards would look at each other and give the nod, like, okay, if stuff goes down, we got each other because we're together because we have beards. And, people had beard envy all night, so it felt good.
Yeah. In San Antonio, there was a place called Cowboys Dance Hall. And you walk in this place, and it's just a metal building, like your basic metal building, but huge, gigantic. And it had that gigantic dance floor where you go out there and you learn a two-step. And the missus got me out there just before our wedding to take some dance lessons to learn how to two-step. And it was interesting. And then afterwards, they had a band come out, and they had a stage there. And I'm not a big country western fan, but they were actually really good. And this place was gigantic. I would say bigger for a dance hall. It was bigger than Hard Rock Live.
Wow.
Bigger than Hard Rock Live for sure. No balcony or anything like that. And it was Thursday night, so they had like $2 drinks. So it was like vodka and sevens for $2.
Nice.
A couple of those went home. Quick amphitheater story, right? Got Def Leppard Kiss probably 6 years ago. And it ended up being like a weekend for shows. We went to Houston and went to this little dive bar called Concert Pub North, regular bar. It's like walking into an Applebee's with a stage. And John Corabi, second lead singer, other lead singer from Motley Crue, played there. And we kind of know him now from all the concerts we've gone to see him. And the next day, packed up the car, went to Austin. Circuit of Americas is like a Formula One racetrack, and they also do motocross racing there. Motocross? I don't know. Crotch rocket racing there. And they get an amphitheater. I'm like, let's go. Let's leave early. Let's get there early. Let's get inside because it's going to be 99 degrees.
Yeah.
And we have good seats. So I know for a fact we're going to be in the shade, because they put a cover over those seats.
Right.
And if you're on the lawn, you're out there baking.
Yeah.
We get there. We're freaking dying of dehydration before we even get in. We get in there, and there's no shade at all. Not a lick of fucking shade in the entire place. So Circuit of Americas, the 360 Amphitheater in Austin, Texas. We'll never go see another show there in the summertime. This whole side of my face, like the sun was coming down, it just burnt the whole side. Like over here, it was fine. Yeah, I was Two-Face from freaking Batman. Just the whole side of me was just burnt beyond. Yeah.
Speaking of your band there, Motley Crue, I got to tell you this Vince Neil story. Somehow I've gotten like 2 years without you hearing this story.
How can that be?
I don't know. I just never
it's
the right time.
The fact that we've probably seen each other in person once in the past 2 years might have something to do with it. Yeah.
Crazy. All right, so check it out. So I think it was 2 years ago, because it was the time when you guys were going on a cruise and Vince Neil was playing at the Bike Fest in Leesburg. And
okay.
That was 2 years ago? Is that right?
I don't recall, but I do know the Leesburg Bike Fest. Yeah. Warrant plays there a lot.
Yeah.
But okay, Vince was there.
So Vince Neil is gonna play there. So the upper echelon, the people who put the show on, the Leesburg Partnership people, I guess, and there was a couple politicians that I know. I'm telling this story secondhand. I don't want to get anybody in trouble or anything, so I'm going to edit myself a little bit as far as their titles and so forth. But for that area, for that Leesburg area, these people were as prominent of citizen as you could be. And they were kind of responsible for doing the whole thing. So they have the whole Bike Fest opened up to everybody. Then they have a little VIP area, and that's where these dignitaries are. And then the
Chamber of Commerce and stuff.
What's that?
Like people from the Chamber of Commerce and whatnot.
Yeah, stuff like that. There's probably maybe 100 people, if that. And then up in front, there's the press area as well. So it's like a smaller pit area, sized area where they can stand and everything. So they're waiting for Vince Neil to show up. I guess he didn't show up for his sound check, so they're waiting for him to show up, and he shows up like right during the opening act. They weren't even sure. They had confirmation he was in the area and he was going to be there, but he didn't show up. So they phoned in the sound check and all that stuff, and a couple of the dignitary people, they were like, hey, we're going to meet Vince Neil. He's coming right now. We're going to go over here by his dressing room trailer thing, and we're going to say hi to him, maybe get a picture with him, maybe an autograph or something like that. Vince Neil comes from outside his van or whatever he got driven up in, and he's got a girl under each arm. And like the member of the greeting party or the person who was in security taking him from place to place stopped by the dignitaries because they were waiting patiently for him to come walking by. And the security person said, oh, and Mr. Neil, by the way, we have so-and-so here and so-and-so here and this person here and this person here. And he looked right at him, snarled up his eyes and said, I don't give a crap who they are. I ain't talking to them assholes, and kept walking. And it was right. I mean, they were like, he was talking to them, but he was talking to the security person at the same time. So they're like, well, okay, he missed the sound check. He's obviously frazzled. He's having a bad day. And from what I heard, he still looked like the guy who ate Vince Neil. He didn't look like Vince Neil, the guy who ate Vince Neil. And so they're like, well, maybe he's having a rough time. So the security person went and apologized to him for putting him on the spot in front of those girls and You know, he said, no problem, and let it go. So the security guy took the blame on both ends. Okay. So he gets the dignitaries lined up outside the dressing room just before Vince is supposed to go on. And Vince comes out of the same dressing room with those two girls. Now that it's time for him to go on. This is about an hour in between, 40 minutes, whatever. And Vince comes walking out, girl in each arm. And Vince says loud enough for everyone to hear, don't even look at them, girls. Just keep walking. And they kept walking. And these are the people who are signing a check for you to be there to play an event in front of a crowd of 100,000 people over the weekend. And this is what you do. Have you heard stuff like that before or what?
Yes. Yeah, for a fact. And I was almost treated the same way, or I was expected to be treated the same way. House of Blues, Orlando, downtown Disney Springs, whatever the fuck it is now, was there with my ex-wife and two friends. And this was back in the day of disposable cameras. And of course, I had a disposable camera with me. The bill was Skid Row, Vince Neil, Poison. Or Vince Neil, Skid Row, Poison. The three of them. I think it was Skid Row, Vince Neil. Yeah, it was definitely Skid Row, definitely Vince Neil, definitely Poison. Skid Row, kicked ass, no problem. Vince Neil, got my camera out. All of a sudden, Bubba, you know Bubba. You, right there. Take my camera, pass it off to my ex-wife, walk over to the side of the stage. Where's your camera? What do you mean camera? I don't have a camera. I saw you with the camera. I go, well, you searched me on the way in. You can search me now. There's no camera. Leave me alone. I'm going back to the show. No. You have a camera. I don't have a camera. Well, you got to leave. So I left. And I let her stay because she's a big Poison fan. Hanging out in the parking lot. So I'm hanging out with Rachel Boland, bass player from Skid Row, Scotty Hill,
nice,
guitar player for Skid Row, and his parents, both from Orange County, New York, where I used to live, and Dave the Snake Sabo, hanging out with them in the parking lot, right by freaking downtown Disney, by their bus. Had my car, red PT Cruiser. I had them autograph the dashboard.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
So the car that sat in the parking lot where you worked for a year had their autographs on it. And just hang out, shooting shit. And out of nowhere, I actually had my license plate, as you can see, kind of. Well, you've seen it before. Let me pull this off real quick. And I don't know what the background is. Choose the virtual background. None. Is there none?
Should be the first option. No.
None. There we go.
Nice.
And you've seen it before. And right there is a faded autograph of Vince Neil. So he comes out and is walking along. And let me get rid of that. Comes walking over this big dude. This guy's name's Frank, and it's his bodyguard. And I'm sitting there with my license plate, and I'm like walking up, and just as I go to say a word, the guy goes like, no. You know, it's okay. He's busy. You know, nothing. Sorry. Vince is like, hey, no, it's okay. So Vince was cool. He took my Sharpie, signed my license plate. I said, thanks, blah, 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 blah. And he got back on his bus and hung out. And that was the night.
Nice. Yeah, so, I've had good luck with people, I guess, because I don't think I've had a personal experience that was bad with an individual. I can't remember too many.
Yeah, I don't think I met Nikki Sixx, met Tommy Lee, no issues there. You know, yeah.
Oh, wait a second. I did. Scott Weiland. From
STP.
STP, yeah. STP opened for Cheap Trick opened for STP at UCF, and wow. I had tickets to that, and you know how it works. I somehow found myself on a backstage meet and greet thing. Magically, I found myself there. So we're waiting for this meet and greet thing, and I guess Scott Weiland showed up, and the security rep cleared the hallway before. Now we're standing in this narrow hallway waiting to get in line to go into this room where Cheap Trick was going to be staged, and we're going to do a meet and greet. There was maybe 20 of us. So we're standing there, and the security guy comes back, and he's into the microphone thing, and he's like, yeah, it's all clear. I'm going to tell everybody in the hallway here just to turn around. So the guy goes like this. He goes, I need everybody in the hallway to pay attention to me. You're waiting for your meet and greet with Cheap Trick. I'm about to bring Mr. Weiland through here. Don't say a word. Don't look at him in the eye. Turn around and face the wall. And I'm like, what? No.
Is this prison?
Yeah, I was like,
are you on your way to the cafeteria?
I didn't get to meet the guys in the band, Cheap Trick again, for a minute time, anyway, it was a long story. So Scott Weiland comes down the hallway, and the security guy's with him, like, there's a guy on each side. And I remembered when he said, don't look at him in the eye. So what did I do? I turned right around and I looked at him right in the eye, and he had this, like, you see how the glare off your glasses has that, like, light blue?
Right.
From the screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what his eyes looked like. I looked at him right in the eyes, and they were like icy blue. I don't know if that was good or bad, or
because it was the ice that he was on.
I don't know, but I'd never been told don't look at this person in the eye. I've never been told that.
Like a freaking television show.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I think there's a certain obligation. If it's like you and I both worked on Disney property. When you work at Universal, whatever, even if you're walking from your car to your work, people don't know the difference. If they see you if they think you're supposed to be working there. If I'm coming, I'm paying you money to come see you, and I see you on your way in, I see you on your way out, you have an obligation. Your appearance starts when you step out of the car, not when you step on stage.
Right.
Does that make sense? Because everything's on stage for these people. You signed off on this. I didn't. Nobody held a gun to your head and said, "Here, be rich and famous and be a jerk to people."
Exactly.
So, yeah, whatever. But I get it. They're probably hounded everywhere. Probably can't go anywhere. Can't do anything.
Yep. Well, they signed up to be musicians, to be artists. I just want to show my art. I want to do this. Yeah. And they didn't sign up for the business. Even doctors just want to help people. They didn't sign up for the business of being a doctor or the business of being in the music industry. And they didn't know. They were just some freaking snotty-nosed kid playing guitar or singing to the radio when they were a teenager. They didn't expect all the other stuff and baggage to come with it.
But I mean, I've seen, everybody knows Cheap Trick's my band. I've been to see them, a bunch of times, and I've met them a bunch of times, both, before shows, after shows, at meet and greet situations, at other events and so forth. But there was one time when Bun E Carlos was still with the band where there was the longest time, there were several years, he wouldn't make an appearance. He would go in and get himself together for the show. Meanwhile, when Rick and Robin and Tom would show up, or when John Brandt was around, when they would show up, they would get driven up in a van or something. Sometimes they'd greet a few people on the way into the building through the back, and then they would come back outside maybe for a minute or two, or their rep, if they weren't coming back outside, would grab any autograph stuff from people and go have it signed. So there was a couple years where Bun E Carlos didn't make those parts of the thing. You could see him get out with everybody else, but he didn't come back down. And if you sent something backstage to get it signed or whatever, he didn't come back out and he didn't sign. And it was one time I was in Atlanta, I think it was. No, not Atlanta. It was in Tampa. And in Tampa, where he actually sent back out, I sent, because I always carry like a CD cover, a CD jacket in my pocket.
Same here. You never know.
Bag or whatever, yeah. So I got a Sharpie with me at all times, So I sent the CD, and sure enough, it had Bunny's signature on it. So all four of them signed it. So I was surprised by that. So I guess, I mean, I get it, but I just don't think you can treat people like that when they're paying good money to see you. I mean, how much do you pay for a concert, you think, nowadays?
Oh, God. My first Motley Crue concert, I scalped the ticket from a scalper at the mall. $25.
Nice.
I think the last set of tickets that I bought for the stadium tour coming up, probably $175 was my cheapest ticket.
Yeah.
I bought tickets for St. Louis because that's where Jessica's living. I bought them for San Antonio, and I bought them for Orlando. Orlando show came up first. San Antonio didn't. So I bought 4 tickets for Orlando. Nothing personal. And the 4 tickets, I kept 2, and I sold the other 2. And the 2 that I sold for $1,400 for the pair.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so you buy them for I think it was $3 and change for the 2 tickets, sold for $1,400. The other 2 tickets, I don't know if I still have them or if I sold.
Can you imagine if you had a bot with a deep bank account? See, that's how it's done. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
These companies.
Well, I got lucky. I got in there quick. I knew what I wanted. I got the 4 tickets for that show.
Right.
Then they announced San Antonio.
Right after that.
So then I bought 2 for San Antonio. My daughter is in St. Louis right now, so I bought 4 tickets for that show. Sent 2 to her, and I'm trying to sell the other 2. And I don't know if that's going to happen. So I might have 2 tickets for Motley and Company, St. Louis, July 6th. So we'll see if I have Sky Miles. We might go up. If not, I just might send them up to her and say, hey, bring 2 friends, bring 2 more friends.
You ever been there?
St. Louis in 1979. My parents thought it would be a great idea to stuff my sister and I in the back of an LTD and drive from New Jersey to Mount Rushmore.
Nice.
And back. And on the way back, we went to St. Louis, and I really liked it. I thought it was awesome. And then my son...
Up in the arch, did you get in a little elevator?
Yep, that little tiny elevator that kind of turns as it goes up.
Yeah, I haven't been. It was just described to me by somebody else that went. So, yeah, I wouldn't do good under those situations. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and once you get up there, I don't think I could stand up.
Yeah.
And I was 13 years old at the time.
Wow.
And but those little windows, they're probably 2 feet by 8 inches, and you can look out. But yeah, Gateway Arch built in 1964.
All right, we're big time. We got
right.
Hang on, let me change the background here. Let me change my background.
We're changing backgrounds.
Yeah, we're having a costume change here. Yeah. So check it out. There's a new coaster coming to Universal Studios. Do you know about this?
Yeah. Is it like a Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Dinosaur coaster. Don't they have one of those already at Animal Kingdom?
Oh,
Dino-Rama?
Oh, yeah.
Is it going to be anything like Dino-Rama?
I don't know. They say it's going to be like
a fancy version of the mouse.
I guess it's going to be a roller coaster, but the attraction is going to focus on playing with guests' sense of danger. Not only will guests go on a raptor run, but they will experience 4 inverted loops, giant drops, G-force, as well as Florida's fastest launch on a coaster. So I guess they're going to try to make it faster than that Hulk, because isn't the Hulk the fastest one they have?
The Hulk that's a launch and a half, man. That thing freaking eats your lunch.
Yeah, I like on the Hulk where they're
goes
like
up, and then it goes around.
Yeah,
like that.
They count down to like 4, and then they take off. It's like, well, what happened to 3, 2, and 1? You know, they don't have time for that.
Yeah, my daughter, her first experience ever on a roller coaster, besides like the little bunny kitty ones.
Yeah.
You and I have gone to it, the Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah.
At what used to be MGM Studios, now Disney Studios, and you go in and you see the little thing they're doing, the little pre-show where Aerosmith is on the screen, but it looks like they're really there, and what's his name does the shocker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they edited all that stuff.
They had to edit all that out. Yeah, it's like no one knew in 1989 what the shocker was. Hello.
Right. Well, I'm sure some people did.
Exactly, right. Yeah, we were just not in the loop. We weren't cool enough. But you go out that door and you hang that left, And if you kind of shield your 10-year-old daughter from like what's going on right there, because that's where the launch area is, and she don't see it, you just keep walking, she has no clue on what the roller coaster's about.
Nice.
So we get her over there, and I sat next to her, thank goodness, because she came unglued like you wouldn't freaking believe.
Nice.
You know, and that thing takes off. The first time I was on it, it was the first launch roller coaster I was on. It really took off.
Yeah.
And I think they lightened it up for like, you know, the years later when I was there, because it didn't seem as intense in you know, times afterwards than the original time. So, but yeah, she still remembers, you know, my daughter's 30 years old now and still remembers 20 years ago when I dragged her on that thing and she became unglued.
Nice. Hey, you know, I think that's great parenting. I think that
Yes.
shows your great parenting.
Oh, it's a character building moment, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And her and her mother did a Travel Channel special where they needed an audience to ride the roller coaster. So like they showed up there at like 2 a.m. and there's this camera crew there and everything, and they're taking pictures, they're putting little GoPro type things, or you know, gigantic GoPros back in the day, and videotaping people on this roller coaster at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Nice.
And they were in the back of the roller coaster, and they made them ride that roller coaster 16 times in a row.
Wow.
At 2 in the morning. Can you imagine?
No.
So this new roller coaster, it you know, it's supposed to be quite the thing.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the left shoe. I'll believe it when I see it. And the reason why I say it is some of these parks have been slowed down, I think, with the pandemic. Not only you think that'd be the opportune time for them to build stuff, but I guess they had to let a lot of people off or what have you. But for instance, Guardian of the Galaxy at Disney, they've been working on it since 2017. They're still probably a year and a half away.
Really? Okay.
I'm not in any hurry here. You know, I know what it is. You know.
Well, they're building that in the old Universe of Energy, which was sponsored by ExxonMobil, and it had what's her name? Ellen DeGeneres.
Degenerate. I like it.
Yeah, she did where she did her show, and it had all the dinosaurs and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they're putting it in there. And they're supposed to be totally redoing Epcot for its 40th anniversary in 2022. So I'm guessing they're a little behind on their plans if they're thinking they're another year and a half out.
What are they doing to Epcot? I mean, besides what they need to do, okay? Remember how they had that ride with the car of tomorrow or whatever it was? It was a stupid ride for Epcot. Wait, what's it called? It was the safety car. You were like a safety dummy?
Yeah.
Crash test dummy in the car?
Right, yeah. Test track.
Yeah, big deal. I'm in a car that's driving itself and it's driving 40 miles an hour. Ooh, you know. Here's what I think they missed the boat. What they need to do is they need to make that the finish line of the drink around the world thing. Whoever has the best time or bumper cars. Put bumper cars there.
Right.
But let's make it easier on the people who are drinking their way around the world. Now, I don't do that stuff anymore, of course, but
yeah. And for people who don't know what drinking around the world is, there's 13 countries in the back section of Epcot. You start over on the left in Mexico and have a margarita. You go on to Norway and have a beer. And then what's China? A little sake? Do they have sake in China?
No, it's Japanese. You are racist. That's Japan.
Whatever.
Rice wine.
Usually a full hour. So what do they drink in China?
I don't know. Rice wine.
Rice wine. Okay. Racist bastard. Germany, blah, blah, blah. All the way around. So 13 drinks by the time you get around to the other side. And it's like a 3-mile walk. So, yeah. And then test track. That'll work. But you got to drive.
Yeah. I think they should give you a passport. And you get a stamp when you get the drink in each place, or maybe 13 stamps up your arm or something like that. And then the last one, you get like a little driver's license made. Like, I did it, you know, and you're all in the picture. I think that'd be great.
Right.
So I started looking, I started digging, I started looking at what's going on at Disney, what's going on at Universal. Disney's also doing something else here, some sort of tribute store entrance facade that they made for Mardi Gras. So they're going to have like a permanent Mardi Gras store, I guess, year round to help promote the fact that they have Mardi Gras there. So let's say you show up in December and it's the holidays, or Halloween Horror Nights is the holidays.
Okay, so Universal, not Disney.
Oh, Universal. Yeah. Did I say Disney?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. It's just, everybody thinks they're the same sometimes, you know? Did you ever run into that? People thought Disney and Universal were the same?
Yeah, it's very common when you don't know the area.
People think the whole world is an amusement park. There was one summer way back in the day, 1987. For the summer, I worked at Yellowstone National Park. A long story, tell you about it some other time. It's another show. People every year, they told me this when I got there, and I did not believe it until it happened. Every year, there's a child that gets injured because he gets gored by a bison because the parent is putting their child on a bison to get a picture. Like, they think it's animatronic, or everything's clean and Disney-like, and no harm can come to me because I'm here.
Every time you see a picture of them, they're not moving.
Right. Well, that's what they thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So
they're just standing there. They're like
docile little animals. Yeah. No, they're the size of a damn car.
I wouldn't want
the size of a Chevy Tahoe.
No. Yeah. No. I'm not getting gored by a bison. Parent of the year, right there. Parent of the year. So I started doing some more digging, and this is more a question for you. I found one or two instances, but it was Universal against Disney. So what I mean by this is, like, in Universal, they have a ride called Shrek 4D. And in the beginning of that Shrek movie, the Universal symbol comes out, and they show like a little Tinkerbell come flying out, and then she hits the screen, like thump, and she falls down to the ground, and that's supposed to be like a little knock on Disney.
Right.
They did that, and then in Men in Black, in the alien attack. See, I didn't know this until I researched this a little further, but apparently, or as a friend of mine used to say, apparently, years ago, Universal thought about bringing in a It's a Small Universe ride. Pull a joke on the It's a Small World thing, and that didn't go over very well. But if you go on Men in Black Alien Attack, the ride there at Universal, they have in the staging queue area where you have the ambient settings, the time period and the place, and the aliens drinking coffee and all that. By where the aliens are drinking coffee while you're standing in line in the queue to get on Men in Black, up on the bulletin board and on the computer are the actual plans that they had for Universal, or for It's a Small Universe. So the actual board are up there. So did a little more digging, and they used to have a ride at Universal called Twister, Ride It Out. Do you remember that?
Yep.
It was pretty lame. You walked in a hallway, they showed you a bunch of stuff blowing around, and that's what it was like. And I'm like, dude, I lived through 3 hurricanes in 6 weeks a few years ago. It was worse than that. So don't come at me like that. You're obviously not from here.
Yeah, you're not a tourist from New Hampshire. Come on.
But one of the things, and there was a picture of it, and I'll post this picture later. Apparently, one of the things that people would find frequently at Universal is on these rides that go upside down. Every day there'd be a set of mouse ears or two laying on the ground. At Universal, somebody wearing mouse ears, riding a roller coaster, losing them, and the mouse ears are laying down on the ground. So on the Twister ride, when it made it look like the whole building turned upside down, they had a set of mouse ears up there, like tucked in there. So they purposely did that, which I thought was fun. I thought that was interesting. And then I kept looking and I couldn't find anything else. So do you have any Universal / Disney taking jabs at each other's stories?
No, just the fact that in that industry, eventually you work for both companies. You know, I worked for Hard Rock Cafe there at Disney. Hello, at City Walk. Worked at the Lame Tourist Cafe, where we worked at, and I've actually worked for Disney in a couple aspects, in a park as a photographer, and in a hotel as a waiter and room service. So, actual jabs, no, just the commingling and the incestual work environment that it is, that everybody knows each other, and it's kind of like a McDonald's Burger King kind of feud, but everybody eventually works for for both of them.
That's funny. I remember we went to a show, I think at Universal, and we sat all the way back up at the top in the back, and somebody came up to us and said something, because we sat up in the VIP, went to VIP, and then you sent the name back, and then that person came up, and we went into the VIP, and the whole VIP was like the Beatles VIP. It was all white.
Yeah, it was the Lennon White Room.
White piano, private bar, private bathroom, all that stuff. You could go outside on the deck up top of the Hard Rock, and that was
wave down to your sisters and brother as they try to go through security.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that was something else. I remember that. I don't know if you remember the end of the show, but I mean,
I still can't remember if it's Nine Inch Nails or Alice in Chains that we went to go see.
It was Alice in Chains.
It was one of those two.
Because those two bands are so alike. People get Nine Inch Nails mixed up with Alice in Chains all the time.
Yeah, it's all Home Depot to me, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, you want to tell the rest of that story?
No,
I'll tell the rest of that story. Okay.
Yeah.
The bartender just happened to know who it was, and somebody I worked with previously at the Hard Rock Cafe, and they had these cups. God, I don't have a cup here. Probably about that size. Were they that? No, that a little smaller than that. A little smaller, but there were cups like that. And you bought the cup, I think, for like $10 with a drink. And then you can get it refilled for $6. So what did we do? We went for Long Island iced tea.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, you know, wine is fine, whiskey's quicker. Even though there's no whiskey in a Long Island iced tea.
Yes.
Plus, knowing the person that actually made the drink, it was pour.
Right.
Psh, psh,
yeah.
And that was it. 2 of those. So if anybody doesn't know, Hard Rock Live upstairs in the balcony, the very top row is all leather seating. Nice, beautiful, cushy leather seats. I don't know if they recline or not, but we got 2 seats there, and we just sat. And someone comes up to us, hey, these are VIP seats, and blah, 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 blah. And I dropped the name, and like, oh, okay. It was actually the guy, the manager who was in charge of Hard Rock Live. And so I'm watching this show, and I literally know like 2 songs the entire time. And whenever we get together and I drink too much, it's never a good sign. So I'm drinking, and then all of a sudden it starts going the other way. So I'm actually throwing up back into the cup. And it's bad. It's going down. It's on my shirt.
Nice.
And when the cup gets full, I reach behind you, and I just pour it on the ground. And I bring the cup back over. They keep throwing up into the cup. God.
Nice.
That was bad. Story. That was bad.
That's a wonderful story. I'm so glad you shared that story.
That was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, we'll have to tell some stories about drinking.
No, there'll be plenty of time to go over. Going through a shoebox today, I found a set list for Twisted Sister when you and I went.
Oh yeah.
We stacked up all the chairs on the side.
That was funny. That was funny. That was very funny. Well, I'll never forget that, because we went to the Christmas show. I think you had tickets. Did you get tickets?
I got tickets from a local radio station.
Standing room only, right?
No. Well, yeah, the tickets I got were standing room only.
Right. So I say something, I walk down from the side. We were on the side of the stage. You know, there's all seating. Instead of open pit, it was all chairs set up, and they had this aisle right down the middle of the chairs, and the first 2 rows were straight across. You couldn't get up to the stage that way. So right after Twisted Sister got on stage, I walked out to the side like I was getting a drink or something, and I zipped right through, act as if, walked right through to the area there. And I'm standing there because people were standing up by their chairs, and I turned around and looked at you, and you came right over. Or was it the other way around? Did you go first, or did I go first?
That I don't remember.
I think it was me, but I
think it was you. I think it was you.
And then what happened when we got there?
Well, you know, when everybody's standing up, just after a while, all these chairs are in the way. So I just start folding up the chairs, stacking them over on the side, and kind of leaning them
over and try to stop you from doing that.
No! At this particular show, no. At other shows, people have tried to stop me.
Yeah.
You know, Downtown Concert Series, not so much.
Yeah.
Hard Rock Live, no one bothered me. Kind of folded up probably, 10, 12 chairs.
Yeah.
Made a little room for us and the people in the area.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
That was the show where Dee Snider came out, and it was a Christmas show. It was a week of Christmas. Dee Snider came out dressed like Santa Claus. He was throwing condoms out to the crowd. I remember that.
Condoms?
Yes.
Yeah, that I don't remember. But
yeah, he had like a Santa sack. He was throwing out condoms. I remember that. It was great.
But "O Come, O Ye Faithful,"
nice,
is the same chord progression as "We're Not Gonna Take It."
Nice.
So they do "O Come, O Ye Faithful" to the melody of "We're Not Gonna Take It."
And I had no idea till we saw them that like everybody in the band was wearing a wig. I had no idea. I thought, yeah, the drummer,
very possible,
bass player.
But yeah, bass player actually is he. I know he has short hair now, so if he had long hair at that concert, he was wearing a wig. Dee has his own hair still.
I thought it was
7.
I thought it was a thing at the time we're shooting the show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I fell for this is Spinal Tap. I fell for that. You know, this is a mock thing or something. I'm getting catfished by a band. You know, what is that?
First concert I ever went to, Lita Ford, Rat, and Twisted Sister.
Nice.
On a pier on the Hudson River, Pier 84, New York City, back in 1984. So nice. That was when I was with you. That was the second time I've seen him.
That gives you a little street cred, I guess, going to see a concert there.
Yeah, it was cool.
You had the opportunity to see many concerts at the Garden, though, hadn't you?
The only concert I've ever seen at the Garden was Motley. My first Motley show was at the Garden. That and fucking Ringling Brothers in 3rd grade.
Well, look, if you're gonna go to one, that's the one to go to, I guess, huh?
Yeah, and that was a ticket I scalped. I bought one. My ticket was $25. A buddy of mine bought a second row ticket for $75 back in '85, and we had other friends who went with us, and they had like upper loge seats, and they did. The loge at the Garden, when you get around to the side, it gets real close to the lower deck. So they did the, came down from the lower deck, jumped down to the lower.
Now I immediately have a question now. Was it a loge or a mezzanine? Because they get fancy with these names now.
The Garden has, we had tickets on the loge.
Okay.
And there was a mezzanine, and I think they were on the mezzanine, and they dropped down to the loge, and then we all dropped down and jumped onto the floor, and we all stood literally on the back of the chairs at
So it's only a balcony if you're in a theater, then.
I think proper terminology, yeah, correct. Like a balcony would be like a one facing, and like around is a mezzanine or. I don't know. Did you go to see Godsmack when I bought that corner table up near the top? Were you there that night? No, I've never seen.
Yeah, when we were at RFC, I was Lisa and I went to see Godsmack, and I brought that front corner table. Like, so if you're looking at the stage where the balcony is, where that seating starts to go all the way around, you had to buy, when you bought the tickets, you had to buy the whole table. It was 4 tickets, so I got 4 tickets. And Lisa and I went, and we found somebody else that we were working with, I guess, that wanted to go. And then a bunch of people were like, "Oh, we want to go up there. We want to go up there." I said, "Well, come on up." So we started sending down the tickets and sending people up, and the tickets kept going back down, and the people kept coming up. And we've had this experience in Orlando before. Yeah. And Yeah, there was 4 seats and we had 16 people in our area. But the server didn't care because they were getting paid. You know, we were tipping and everybody was fine. Everybody was good. But
Yeah,
I remember that.
I actually got one of those tables for Meatloaf at the Hard Rock Live, and it was us and another couple. And for some reason, the husband couldn't make it, so it was just my ex-wife, me, and a friend of hers. And we were drinking, and I got a good buzz going on. I'm like, you know what? I want a guitar pick. So I left the table, went all the way downstairs, walked all the way to the front, walked to the floor, walked up to the stage, reached up to Meatloaf's mic stand, picked the guitar pick off, walked to the back of the arena, walked upstairs, walked back to the table, and I had myself my Meatloaf guitar pick.
I remember I think you've done that with Rick Nielsen before and took a whole strip of them off or so. That's funny.
Yep, that was actually New Year's Eve at Pleasure Island.
Yeah. That's one of the shows I didn't go to that I regret not going to. But you know, Trey was little that year. My son, I had him. He wasn't interested in going. I was at my mom's house visiting and all this stuff. So yeah, that and this same child, my son Trey, was graduating, and Cheap Trick was scheduled to play the Hard Rock, House of Blues that night. So I tried to, I put in a call to see if I can get something changed. They weren't going to change the graduation, and they weren't interested in having Cheap Trick play the graduation. So I played that card, and nothing. Yeah, I couldn't go to the show, so I went to Trey's graduation instead. So, Parent of the Year.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember, you only have one kid, and if you piss off that one kid, who's gonna put you in a nursing home?
Oh, you know what? I thought I'd be dead already. I've been on borrowed time. I was supposed to die when I was 27, like most rock stars, and it didn't happen. So I'm living on borrowed time.
Well, I think you missed the rock star part. That's what happened.
Hey, listen, they found an alligator over here by Lake Apopka. Of all places to find an alligator, who would have thunk it, right?
You ever Google Earth or look at Google Maps at Lake Apopka?
No, there's a bunch of bumps in there.
The color of it just doesn't match the rest of the planet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of different. Take a look at it sometime, but go ahead.
Sorry. Well, they just, not too long ago, like, they did a 20-year thing where they dredged the whole lake or something. They drained it all.
Well, they had to. I don't know if you know, just north of Lake Apopka on the North Shore, isn't like the Scott fertilizer
probably
plant?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, like the Scott fertilizer plant is there, and it's also surrounded by orange groves. For like what, decades? Yeah. And all that fertilizer and crap is just leaching into there. Well, I knew somebody who knew, or like their son was on the rescue team and was like a scuba rescue person who had to go into that lake many times to like look for stuff and find people and whatnot. And they've talked about like two-headed alligators and like albino alligators with two-headed fish. Or two-headed fish and like albino alligators. There's like all kinds of weird crap growing in there. And well,
this is about an unusual gray-colored alligator. There's a little story here from the Apopka Chief, and this is along the Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive. So it's an 11-mile drive. They're open on the weekends only and federal holidays. So I've been there before, but now I got to go check out the gray alligator. I guess I got to try to find a picture of him. So you went on that wildlife drive over by you, though. Where was that?
Wildlife Drive?
Yeah. Oh no, you went to Blue Springs.
Yeah, Blue Springs. It was kind of like a wildlife thing, but it wasn't a drive-through. It was kind of like a walk along the springs, and you had the manatees. 239 manatee there that day, and the boys loved it. Yeah, I'm looking at a Google Maps picture of Lake Apopka now. It looks a little green, little grainy, a little green. So
there's along the way, about halfway along the way, there's a turnoff and it's basically you're on this raised like shell road, and there's like canals on both sides, and there's tracts of land, and on the inside part of it, if you would, we kind of go through the middle of it on both sides. It's marshy land and it's preserved, but there's these canal systems that run along the roadways that you drive along. So you'll see a lot of gators, a lot of wildlife, a lot of bird watching, a lot of stuff like that. But about halfway through, you come across this building, and the building's like shuttered, but the building, you could see it had a mill in there, and they were doing something with the mill and the water and for power, I guess, back in the day for that little area. So
yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of interesting. It really was. So yeah, I'm gonna go out there, I think, and see if I can find a gray alligator. You saw some manatees when you went to Blue Springs, right?
Yeah, they're also gray. Yeah,
the old ones are.
Yeah, well, some of them actually look like they would have been like hit with propeller props and whatnot from the intercoastal, St. John's River.
Oh, I thought you were going to say people were bringing propeller props in and throwing them at them.
No.
See, that's a great business model right there. Cut out the middleman. You no longer need a boat. Buy your propeller on the way in, and you could just throw them right at. No, that's not.
That's not right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Come on, we got 1 minute.
1 minute?
1 minute.
You got any trivia?
No trivia tonight. I didn't research any trivia. I know what we do for trivia. Back in 1985, there was
best year ever.
There was a band that played at Walt Disney World for the grad night celebrations that they had.
Okay.
They played in front of Cinderella's castle.
Okay.
Who was that band?
Oh God, who was that? 1985. Give me a genre at least.
Rock and roll that we like, 80s rock, hair band type stuff.
Okay.
You got 15 seconds.
I'm gonna go with Firehouse.
Buddy, it was so obvious. It was Cheap Trick. Come on.
All right.
That's all we have for today. We'll be back next week.
Yep.
And what was I going to say? Oh, go to What's Hot in Florida, What's on Facebook. There's a bunch of them, a bunch of towns. Check us out on mixlr.com. Pretty soon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and everywhere else. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.